Hi, I'm Twilla Amin, and you're watching Copy That. This week, we are with Niya.
Hi.
Niya is here with us. We're going to do a little something different. Still sipping on our drinks this week. What is this?
This is juice, cold pressed juice.
Cold pressed juice, because we're being healthy.
Yeah, I don't like mine, I just discovered, but it's fine. We're healthy.
All right, so this week, like I said, we're changing it up. Niya is actually going to flip it on me and ask me questions.
Taking over your podcast.
You're just going to take it over?
Yes.
Okay.
Can I start talking now? Okay, so thank you. Hi, I'm Niya. I'm Twilla's sister. And, you know, like Twilla said, we decided to do something a little bit different. And, you know, I'm someone that's pretty interested in the industry. Personally, I would love to be a screenwriter. And I've learned a lot from just like watching Twilla. So we thought it'd be cool to, you know, have her answer some questions. So.
Niya's my sister, but she's also the producer of this podcast.
Yes. I produce
I don't
podcasts.
just ask random people to help me out.
This is not nepotism, okay?
This is nepotism. Let's get it. Let's go. Own that, girl.
Okay, nepotism. I'm a nepo baby. So, Twilla, I wanted to start off, maybe you can introduce yourself a little bit of what you do, because you tend to talk about what your guests do, but let's get into what you do.
Okay. What would you like to know?
What do you do?
So I am by trade currently a manager of production. I work for a production company in the docu space. And before that, I was working as a production coordinator. And these are like the by trade for hire things. I am a member of 871, which is the coordinators union. Also, I am a producer. I've produced several short films, comedy sketches. I'm actually also a business owner. I own this studio that we're currently sitting in, and it is beautiful, isn't it? And it's a podcast studio that you can rent if you're in the Los Angeles area.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug. And I am also co-owner of Lacktoast Entertainment, which is a production company. We do shorts. We do work on features. We have a game show that if you don't have the Caffeine app, you'll be able to watch it on our YouTube channel, and several of our shorts, which are on Amazon.
So you just do a little bit here and there.
Just stuff.
Did you even mention writing? I didn't know if you put that in the list.
No, I didn't mention writing. I also have written, I also am a writer. I've written several short films. I have a couple of feature films that we're hoping to pitch and sell.
Yeah.
Expeditiously.
We love that. Big word. Twilla stays busy is what she basically said. And like I said, I look up to you. I think you might need to add a little bit more rest into your day. But overall, in terms of like your perseverance in pursuing your dreams, that's like not common. So, I mean, I think that's why you are where you are today and do so much. So
Thanks, sis.
Yeah.
Do I have bags under my eyes?
No.
The way you were like, you need rest.
No. You look bad, but no.
Okay.
No, you look great.
Do I look my age?
You don't.
Okay, great.
No. That black is not cracking. But so, you know, I always call you my North Star, you know, because basically she moved out to LA. I was like, I guess I'm going to LA for school, even before I realized that I was interested in the industry. So
I've always known you're interested in the industry.
I guess I always thought it was like a childish thing. Like I used to think I wanted to act, which I don't really want to do. And I kind of realized that I like creating worlds. So I used to envision myself in movies that I loved, and I would create a character and a concept, and I didn't realize that that was writing. And you actually have a similar kind of childhood experience. You did the same thing, right?
Yes, I did. I was a really interesting kid. I say that, and I think people have this, like, so, I don't know, I think you're too young to remember, but when we were young, like really little, I would like write plays and then have our other brothers and sisters perform them. And this would be like dinner theater for mom and dad. So we also had to cook spaghetti so they could have
Oh, that's cute.
dinner and a show. And I would like, and even if it wasn't a play, like there'll be like a little circus act, like somebody would have to walk the tightrope, like we had a tightrope, and then we do flips and dances and stuff like that. So, yeah, you don't
It's
remember?
wild being the youngest kid. Like, you hear about traditions and people and family friends that like you've never met. They're like,
Yeah.
you don't know Jocelyn. I'm like, no, I never met Jocelyn, but everyone else in my
Yeah.
family knows Jocelyn and they love her dearly.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that's cute.
You missed out on that.
I did. I remember you wrote stories for Scala, our sister.
Yeah, when we moved to, I think when we moved, and we shared a room for a long time. So like she used to be like, tell me a story. I'd be like, cool. I got plenty of stories.
Say less.
And it would be like full out movies. Like what I didn't realize what I was doing a lot of times were like my own version of a spec script. Like there's a show that I was obsessed with, Ghostwriter, back in the day. And I wish that was in Ghostwriter. So I actually wrote a character for me to act out to be in Ghostwriter. But I would just tell our sisters this story at night, and it would be like a 3-hour story.
Oh, I didn't remember it being that
It
extensive.
was a long story.
Okay.
Like I could just keep going. And mom got to the point, mom was like, y'all stay up too late. And I was like, well, I got to tell Scala a story. And this was my thing. So mom was like, instead of telling your sister these stories, how about you write it in this notebook? So then I just started writing all my stuff in notebooks. There was a Power Rangers notebook. There was a Different Worlds notebook. Like there was a lot of stories going on there. And I didn't know that was a spec script, but, and I didn't really know that was like me being interested in being a script writer. I just had an overactive imagination.
That's kind of interesting because I guess it speaks to like what you're called to do. Like you're drawn to something that you don't even know exists.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's big. So you've been out here for a while in LA. I know that you didn't always know you wanted to move to LA. So what was that like when you realized you wanted to move to LA? What made you want to move here? And then how do you get the courage up to do it?
So I was actually dead set on moving to New York,
Yeah.
period. That was it. I wasn't entertaining LA. Then one of the girls that I was supposed to move to New York with ended up moving to LA. Like she was from LA. And so she was just like, I really think you would like LA. I was like, whatever. I don't think so. And we had gone to LA for spring break and I wasn't that impressed with LA over spring break. So I was just like, oh, well, did that. I'm good. But then my other friend, Lori, who we met in a previous podcast episode, she had moved out here and she had been here for a year. And she was like, I think you should really come and give it a go. And I was just like, everybody wants me to go to LA. I just want to go to New York. And I was talking to mom about it. And mom was like, well, just pray on it. But I really think you should move to LA. And, you know, like if you don't like it, you can always get a plane ticket back home. I was like, wow, mom, you're trying to get rid of me. That's further. Like,
It did kind of sound like that.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised she told you that.
it's definitely further, mom. Like I could drive from New York if needed,
Right.
and
12
get there in the
hours.
same day.
Yeah.
I can't do that from California.
Yeah.
But so I was like, all right, like that's my mom. I'm a trust her. She knows what she's talking about. And I've been out here ever since.
She knew what she was talking about.
Yeah. I saved up money. Like at the time I was working for mom and dad and I was living at home.
Smart.
So I didn't have any rent to pay. So I got to save
Yeah.
all my money.
Do you feel good about the amount of money you came
No.
out here with? Why not?
I think you will always wish that you saved more.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think I was like, I got 3 months. I'm going to be good.
Yeah.
But like what I've said often is that I moved when the industry was slowing down.
Right. The writer's strike.
And so that job that I thought was coming didn't come as we thought it was coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you took the leap, which is more than other people can say.
Yeah,
you
for
know?
sure.
So that's really amazing. So, I mean, it might have looked different for you because of the writer's strike, but I kind of want to get a sense of, you know, even for yourself or what you would advise people to do once you get here. You're here. It's big. It's overwhelming.
Yeah.
What do you do?
I think there's prep to do before you get here. So like save money, of course, if you can. Like I want to say, like, I know that everybody's not in a position to save money. So if you can, save money before you move out here. I also think it's important that you kind of study the industry, you read the trades, you know what's going on. And when I say trades, I mean like Hollywood Reporter, Variety, some people say Verity, Deadline.
Who says Verity?
Some people say Verity.
Well, it's incorrect.
It's incorrect,
No.
but whatever. Read Deadline. Just kind of know what's going on, what's happening with the industry. Like there's some people who'd be like, you need to be able to name all the major talent agencies, and you need to know all the production companies, and you need to know all the people's names. I mean, sure, that's good, but just be aware of what's happening in the industry, what moves are being made. If you're interested in writing scripts, make sure that you know what writing classes are available when you move out there. If you haven't already started taking writing classes, if you're, like looking to work in like productions, like already put your information up on different job sites. Now, nobody's going to hire you before you move out. Like if you can't make it to the interview, like nobody's going to be like, well, we're going to fly you out, or like you might get a Zoom interview first, but then it's going to be like, can you start Monday? And if you say yes, they'll probably call you on Friday to say you got the job. Or sometimes it's like, can you start tomorrow? So like if you need to be kind of prepared there, but like know the different sites that you can apply, start looking for jobs. There's prep, so again, there's prep that you can do. Once you get out here, I would say like go to places where you can not be seen, but meet people in that field.
Like where? Where would that
So
be?
like if there's there's always an event, like
Like
there's
networking
events, different studios, different meetup groups. There might be writers groups. I see like I'm in a lot of post and writing groups and production groups on Facebook. And what I see a lot of times are people who are like, hey, I'm so-and-so, I just graduated from college. My plan is to move out to LA in, 2 months. Would love to know any leads. Most people would just respond and be like, hey, hit us up when you get out here. We'd love to meet you. And those people do follow up and they're like, hey, I'm out in LA, wondering if anybody's available for coffee or if you heard of any jobs. And a lot of times people will reply because people do want to help you, especially if you took the initiative to be part of like that, a member of that group, and put yourself out there. So like that. I met a lot of people at church. Like I went to church because I'm a church girl.
Praise him.
And so like a lot of my industry connects actually came out from me being involved in my young adult ministry. So like, and I had friends from film school who lived out here. So I just started taking meetings with people who have friends out here, getting advice from them, and going to church. That was my,
That's really cool though, because it sounds like there's so much support for people even before they make it out here. So I feel like people might have like the industry might have kind of like a stigma of just like being filled with like mean people who are like, where's my coffee? And then they like fire you if you don't, so it's
I mean, that happens.
Oh, okay.
But there's balance. Like there are really groups of people who, like, especially if there's somebody, like if there's a film group, what I would do is like, if you're on Facebook, and I know Facebook's like frowned upon a lot of times for whatever, like, or a lot of people might not use it, but it really is good for like groups. So I would search groups and just look. I literally did this when I started needing to find more jobs in the entertainment industry. Just Google like production groups, writers groups in LA, post whatever, like you'll find groups for what you're interested in. And that's another way you'll hear about different jobs coming up.
Yeah, and it sounds like maybe, you have to kind of date these groups a little, because it's like maybe the first group isn't quite a good fit. Maybe you meet a whole bunch of people, but you kind of narrow down the people that kind of you vibe
And you can
with.
also vet these groups. Like, well, like you're saying date the groups, but it's also like, okay, there's groups that's inactive or you don't see any activity in there.
Yeah.
Like, don't be part of that group. Or it might be a group with 3 members. Like,
Okay. Got it.
that's not a great network. Like something that's like 2,048 people in Los Angeles and somebody posted something that morning or the day before.
Yeah.
You know, that's a pretty decent active group to be a part of.
One thing I hear about is like people doing background work to get started. What do you feel about that? And did you do any of that?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm kidding. I shouldn't say that. Background is absolutely a great way to get in. For those who don't know what background is, it's literally like the extras, the people walking around without lines on the screen. That is a great way to meet people. It's a great way to kind of see how a set works. And it's instant pay. Like, not instant pay, but it's like you'll get paid. It's like a job that you don't necessarily have to apply for.
Right. Yeah.
And there's websites that you can sign up for this extra work. And you know, you get a call time. They're like, can you be available tomorrow at this time? You'll start running to some of the same people, or if you're a certain type, like you're lucky enough to be like on the set for a couple of days, you're able to make friends that way. You learn a lot of different things. So that's a good one to bring up. And although I didn't do background acting myself, I used to work in casting when I was in DC.
Right.
So I'm very familiar with the background process. That was my only reason for not
Okay.
personally
You're like, I get
choosing.
it. I don't want this.
Yeah, I'm good.
I like whatever agency or whatever people go to in Burbank, like get there early, guys, because the line is wild. Have you heard about these lines?
Yeah. So like, okay, so you can sign up online to become an extra, but you have to go in. And I think like to get the picture or some certain paperwork that they want to do. And there's so many people trying to do the same thing. So you want to arrive early so you won't be stuck in line all day. Because they only do this a certain days of the week.
And only
Between
take in
certain
like
hours.
a certain amount of people.
Yeah.
So you could be in line, you could be there, but like they'll cut you off if you're number like 201 or whatever it is. So
Yeah.
So that's a tip right there.
And look, you about that life.
About what life?
Do you sound like you know about the extras life?
I like signed up for it. I was kind of like in between jobs when I first moved out here. So I went to school at USC, went back home to North Carolina, and then came back out here. And when I came back the second time, I was like, my brother just suggested that I do it because he did some background work. So I definitely didn't get in the first time. But then I even got in, and then I never took a job. Like, I really didn't want to do it. It also wasn't for me. So, I mean, everyone has their own path, their own way. So you already started mentioning a lot of great resources and things.
I be knowing stuff.
She be knowing stuff. Is there anything else, like, how can people, like, fill their time and really get that extra experience? Maybe they're a PA, but they want to be a writer. What can they do in the meantime?
So we mentioned classes. We mentioned there's like fellowships that you can apply to, writer fellowships. A lot of the major studios will have fellowships for people to come in different capacities and just have, gain exposure to how different things work. And that's for like writers, sometimes producers, sometimes studio execs, different fellowship programs.
Can you talk a little bit about like what that process, the application process might be like? Okay. I'm so sorry. Let's move on.
So it depends. It really does depend on the what you call it itself, the fellowship itself.
Right.
But for example, like most of them will require you to have a sample of your writing, so like a completed script, but they'll also ask for a spec script, especially if you're writing, applying for a TV TV fellowship. And a spec script is like basically based on an existing show, your own take, or like your episode of an existing show. And a lot of those will ask for that just to see that you can adapt to, you can write for a different show, because as a TV writer, they're hiring people who can write in the voice of that show that they're hiring for. So that's one of the things. They'll probably also ask you like a personal statement, why you want to be a writer, why you want to be in the room, and that sort of thing. And then, so you'll apply along with thousands of other people, and you might make it to the next round. And then from that round, they might do another round of your writing, and then you'll get to be interviewed for like the finals.
Sounds intense.
It is.
You're applying for college, but even more intense than that.
Like I don't speak on it often, but I actually didn't get in fellowship. So I made it to a final round for early on, like when I first moved out here for a writing fellowship with ABC Disney. And what I did not know, because I didn't have a resource or I didn't know anybody who had been through this, because this was literally my first year in LA that I got this.
Impressive.
Oh, thank you. But I didn't know that they were going to ask me to pitch other ideas and concepts that I had. So imagining being like, I was 24, and I was just like, yeah, I have some ideas. There's a girl and she goes to this place.
Just making it up on the spot.
Yeah. Like I was just like, nobody told me to
she
have
witnesses
this.
a murder. Wait, what, Disney?
Not that. So like overall, like imagine this. Like, no, it was just like, it was bad.
Yeah.
It was bad. And like you go through those things so you can be prepared for the next one. But like nobody told me, and I didn't necessarily, and I'm the type that researches everything. So I was like, nobody had ever written the words, be prepared for this, what this round looks like. So if somebody gets that far in a thing, just know to have ideas ready for your next.
Yeah. I mean, I applied to a fellowship. I don't even think I stepped into quarterfinal. I don't know if there's like a 16th final.
But the thing is, you had material to submit, and that's big.
Yes, that is true. It actually motivated me to finish a script that I had been working on, or a concept.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was pretty cool. But one thing that you mentioned and that I remember from that process, it's a lot of like, who are you? Why do you want to write? It's like people seem to really want to know, when it comes to writing at least, like, what's your story?
Yeah.
Is that kind of a thing you've noticed?
Yeah, because honestly, you're looking for different voices. The whole thing about storytelling is to find unique voices, and what lends to your unique voice is not just like your ethnic background or your sexual identity. It's also like your experiences, your lived experiences, and what about this has brought you to want to write, and who are you? And if you talk about what you want to write, a lot of times we hear like who you're championing. Yep.
No,
that's a hard one.
That was a hard one.
But just in it, so it kind of is like who, like it gives you an idea. Like some people's minds are like big, like people's minds are just different, and their perspective on life is different. So I think they're trying to get through that to see who you are a lot of times.
Yeah. I feel like that could be challenging, or at least I kind of struggle with that, with those questions, because when people ask, why do you want to write? It's like, because I just have these ideas in my head.
And I'm good at it.
And I want to get it out. So it's not, I don't think I come from a place of like, I need to tell stories about Black women in the South. I don't feel that, but I have tried to like think of all of my ideas and the scripts I've worked on, and try to find a common theme in that way. But I feel like that can be challenging.
Yeah.
To kind of not just know yourself, but just be able to express that.
Yeah. I think anytime you're applying for like college or anything, it's going to be kind of hard. One of the things that I do like, there's a place, the writing pad that we both took classes at. Yeah. They actually have like a fellowship prep class. Right, and they will help you tackle these type of questions, because it is hard. Nobody knows exactly what they're looking for. So it will help you kind of find your voice and shape that. So and I will say, especially when we say take classes, you have to invest in yourself. So classes cost money.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, like if you're an actor or you're into comedy, improv classes cost money. Don't let that deter you. Like that's actually really, because you're paying people for their expertise and like their time, experience and time.
Yeah.
But it's also an investment in yourself. Like you're never going to regret taking a writing class or getting better in something.
That's true. I remember I took my first writing class, and then I wanted to continue. There was like TV writing 1, and then 2 followed it. And I wanted to take it pretty soon after, but I was like, I gotta get my money back up. Like, this is a yearly process, so it
I
took a
think
while.
like the people who I see investing the most in themselves are actors out here. Actors take classes. They will be in classes forever.
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, like almost, like sometimes it's almost to the point like, do you really need this many classes? But it's like, I get it. Like it's constantly, if you're not working in it professionally, then you're exercising a muscle that you need to keep strong, because you might not be working as an actor in a day. You might be like a waiter or an insurance person, like whatever it is, you're working a different job, and to go to that class is allowing you to express that. I will also say though, like write your own stuff. Write your own project. Like if you have a film project, write it. And then the next step is to get it produced. So you have something written, and then you have a sister that owns a production company. And like you literally can have it made. Like even if you don't have like the sister who has a production company, you will meet up with friends or other writers. I will say, like, my business partner and I, like, before we even formed this business, the thing that probably got us started in this direction was he wrote a script and wanted to bring it to life. And he was like, I just need the tools. And I'm like, I'm happy to help you pull this together. Yeah. And we went on Craigslist and got our entire crew.
Wow.
We don't know these people from Adam, like, I don't even remember who. I think some of the actors might have been his friends.
Okay.
And we pulled this project together, and then it was like, we didn't have an editor. So, like it was a lot to do it, but I think eventually I knew how to edit then. So then eventually I started editing, but whatever. But like, it was literally like, because writing something, taking something from writing to actually making it yourself makes you a better writer, because you see like, oh, that was too much fluff, or that didn't translate the way I thought it would translate on camera, or
that's true.
it helps to see something that you did come to life.
I see that, because even when, like, in my second writing class, we did kind of like table reads, and the other people in the class, you would like assign them different characters in your script. And it was there that I learned that my dialogue was flat. And it just sounded so like elementary, like, I'm mad at you. Like, that's not an actual line, but yeah. So I could only imagine when you see it all come together, how it really can help, you see how your script is.
Yeah. Like, and that doesn't, it doesn't require a lot. Like, it doesn't require you to have all the professional cameras. Yeah. You could do it on your cell phone. Like, you can buy a tripod or a gimbal for your phone off of Amazon or at Walmart or at Target. And then you can, even if you want to be fancy, there's a little mic attachments that you can put on your phone.
Little fuzzy things?
The little fuzzy things, or like the Rode mic, an actual known mic, a little Rode mic that you can attach to your phone. Or you can get like lavaliers if you wanted to.
What's that?
Lavalier microphones clip to your...
Oh, that's what they're called?
Lavs, yeah, lavalier mics. Wow. And they have pieces that can attach to your phone too. You can do so much that's really eliminating excuses for people not creating.
Okay, so I do feel that you are judging me currently.
Yes.
This doesn't feel like a safe space, Twilla. I agreed to be on this show as a favor.
You said I want to take over your podcast.
Yeah, I did. But no, you're right. I'm lucky to have like access, even to see, I always say this, to see how you have an idea and then you bring it into fruition. You and Dion back there. You guys are really, it's so cool to see that process because I'm kind of like a perfectionist and all or nothing person, a person who likes structure and like for things to make sense. And, you know, so to me, I have to get out of my head about like, well, the way that you get your work out there, and I know there's indie work, but it's like, no, you write a script, someone's interested in it, they buy it or something,
Yeah.
or they like how I write. So then I get in the writer's room. So I'm joining something that's already established. So the idea, my mind doesn't operate in that way to like, well, you know what? I have to make it happen because I feel like I would probably invalidate the whole, in my head, I would like, you know, diminish or negate like the value of what I created.
Right. And it's also like getting out of your head because it's like there's value in what you create, but you only get better from like doing it.
Yeah.
So then like when we talked about like my trajectory for work, like I said, I've done like independent projects, right? So I started off doing a lot of like outside of film school, a lot of sketches, with my business, a lot of projects that way. That only made me become a better producer, right?
Yeah.
And then I was fortunate enough to work on a short film as a producer that got, it went to Sundance into 2018. And that was like a privilege to work on that. These are all indie things.
Right.
And it doesn't all necessarily carry the same weight per se when you get like hired for TV. So then when I got hired in television as a production coordinator, which feels like a lower status than a producer, but it was because I had that skill set
Right.
that allowed me to like move quickly and get, you know, promoted quickly because I had field experience on the things that I built myself, and I was able to like apply stuff quicker than most people who just came in green in this industry without that background.
Right.
So it's a value added for you to do that. Not the deep side.
Well, this has been another episode. You're right. And I love a podcast. I listen to a lot of like writers podcasts, and it's like for novelists or copywriters, all of them say the same thing. It's like, in order to become a better writer, write. And it sounds like that's kind of a general thing that you can extend to other areas.
Yeah.
Like, that's how you get better. And it can be hard because you may be familiar with what good writing looks like or what a good production looks like. And so as you're creating, you are aware of just how not good it is.
Yeah.
And your first script's not going to be good.
And yeah, you won't come out the gate like just knocking them out. I mean, you might. That's amazing, right?
I want to.
Right, we all want to.
That's my goal.
But like, if you think about it, in any skill, you have to practice, and we put a value on it, on what we see professionals do.
Yeah.
We put a value. We assume that they were always that great, right? We assume that Beyonce always put on a great show since the beginning of time, but she also had to start somewhere. Like, she practiced, she danced, she rehearsed, she went on Star Search, she lost. You know, like all those different things that you have to do, like that work that she did to get to the level that she's at now. Yeah. So even like, you know, like our favorite producers or like Jason Blum or all these top people that we like, writers, Aaron Sorkin, they started somewhere. And I'm pretty sure
Shonda Rhimes started at the top. You know what I mean? I feel like she came out the gate swinging.
I mean, she's always had the ability. We all have the ability to come out swinging, right? But you got to get in shape. You're just not gonna, you know. Didn't she write? What was that? Crossroads. That
With Britney Spears.
Yeah.
Okay, then she did not. Oh no, I should say. I love Shonda Rhimes. I love Station 19 so much. It's great.
I think she wrote that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then, yeah, we definitely, people have to grow. So,
Yeah.
So that is good to hear. And I feel like you do hear those stories where it's like people they didn't start at the top. But I
Yeah.
feel like one element that's kind of missing is just how painful it is.
And
to
that's
start at the
why
bottom.
Yeah, and it's kind of the reason that is the reason that I'm doing this podcast. Because it is a journey, to say the least. And like you said, sometimes it's painful to start at the bottom. I like that. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
But that's just life. In order to like get better at something, you have to start from somewhere.
Yeah. Literally everything that is worth it, I realize hurts a little and is uncomfortable, you know? Like if you want to grow, you can't grow without pains or discomfort.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's wild. That you're right. That is life. And then when you're pursuing such a crazy dream, in such an intense kind of industry and city, it just like amplifies that. But you know, you've been doing it. You've been doing really well.
Well, thanks, Boo. I try.
I feel like we've kind of talked about this. Maybe it's. I just kind of want to get a specific kind of advice, like a tidbit, a tweetable, if you will.
A tweetable.
I think Oprah's like, that's a good tweet. On
Oh,
Super
yeah.
Soul Sundays?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get a good tweet. What do you say to people that want to be in the industry? They really want to do it, but fear is holding them back.
Whew. So where do I start? Fear is, you can't let that be the thing that stops you from accomplishing the life that you want. You know, like the only thing that will happen by you not doing what you need to do or by moving in the way that you want to move is that you'll never even get to progress in that way.
Yeah.
You don't even give yourself the opportunity to see what you're doing, right? So, and all you're doing is guaranteeing that the life that you're currently living is the life that you will have.
Wow.
So don't let that stop you. The thing is, there's nothing permanent in this choice.
Right.
Meaning, like, if you start down this road and you're like, if that's how you feel about it, then you can go back and do what you were doing.
Right.
But like, allow yourself and give yourself the opportunity to try that thing that you've always wanted to try.
Yeah.
It's always been really sad to me when people are like, oh man, I used to want to be, a costume designer, or I used to want to do this, but like, and then you look at that person and you're like I've seen people who have like real talent in certain industries, or in certain things, but just like, there's no way I'll make it, so I'm just gonna go and be this thing that's guaranteeing money. Like for me, that you kind of feel your soul draining from that, and it's denying. That's a way that you deny yourself.
Yeah. Fear is a powerful tool, but because like fear is literally just perception, even though it can feel like such a real thing, I kind of like to sometimes flip the script and be like, okay, let's use this imagination because it's wild. You're thinking of all the things that can go wrong. Let's turn it around. Like, I'm going to be amazing. I'm going to work with Shonda Rhimes. She's going to take a class from me. Just kidding. I've never gone that far. I would never. I love Shonda Rhimes.
You're obsessed.
I do. I am. Station 19 has my heart. I have to give you the update on this week's episode. She loves when I do that.
Shonda Rhimes is amazing, and I watch Bridgerton. Shonda Rhimes stresses me out. Like, I couldn't finish How to Get Away with Murder.
I couldn't even finish the one with Carrie.
I stopped watching Grey's Anatomy. Scandal.
Yes.
Like, there's just shows that I'm like, why are you doing this to me? You don't love me.
Yeah.
And I have
it's
to
stressful.
Stop. Her and then Ryan Murphy.
Yeah. Other than Glee, it's beyond that. It's a lot. Yeah. With Shonda, you remember me coming out of my room in full tears,
bawling,
like I had lost a loved one, and I felt like I had. I don't want to do any spoilers, but rest in peace. You know who? If you know, you know. I'm really upset about it. But yeah. So like, use that imagination for good. Yeah. And then I feel like I've heard people say like, you should be more afraid about not accomplishing your dreams than like going for your dreams.
Yeah. So our mom has this thing where she says like, when we die, when you go and enter the, you're at the gates of heaven, she was like, you want St. Peter to be giving you a high five and being like, you blew that thing out the water. You did that. You blew that thing out the water. So I hear that thing in my head too.
Wow.
Like,
yeah. And then like just imagining what it could be like to pursue and achieve and then get to live out literally what you dreamed of.
Yeah. And I think also like when it comes to perception, like in this industry, when you think of Hollywood, you think of people like automatically you think they're rich and they're famous and they're living this certain life. That's not necessarily the case across the board. It's like people who have jobs.
There's everyday people.
Everyday people who are living, doing jobs that they actually enjoy. And it allows them to pay their bills. Yeah. So, I mean, like, and if you can get rich from it, why not? But that's like, I don't think anybody should feel like they're doing wrong if they're actually like being able to feed themselves and put a roof over their head and that type of thing, and doing the thing that you love. That's big.
Yeah. And even, talking about like some people have to work kind of like side jobs while they're pursuing their dreams. I feel like I used to think, or there was a time probably when I would have been okay with being a starving artist. And then I'm 30 now, so I was like, I can't. I'm a rich auntie now. So like the life's not for me. So yeah, I'm going to keep a solid full-time job. And I just have to work on being more disciplined and taking that time for me, investing in myself, like you said. Yeah. Well, I wondered, you said so many helpful things. Like I said, I am so lucky to have you as my sister and to see you work.
You're cool too.
Oh my gosh, thank you. In what ways?
No.
Fishing.
We're not doing that.
Okay. No, that's fair.
No, yeah.
But yeah, so even just like seeing this come to life because you want it to help people, it's amazing. Do you have any last words, any last advice for people who are interested in the industry?
Yeah. That's a good question. Well, first of all, thank you. Yeah. You're one of my cheerleaders along the process, and you're always there for me, so thank you for that. But I will say, like, I think the biggest key is to just get started, and I know that can feel overwhelming, especially if you don't know where to go. So, like, research. Like, I think that was the biggest thing for me moving out here. I didn't know that many people. I didn't know anyone who was successful in this industry. And so I just read everything, like any book that was like How to Hollywood, or even if it was a novel, like I think it was called Second Assistants or the Second Assistant. It was like a book, a novel, a fiction novel. And I was like, I need to read this. And it actually, like, you learn stuff from it. Like, and I just had like this thing, like I need to download as much as I can. And now you have like all this stuff online, and I'm sure you can read blogs, and then you have the trades, and like you can read articles out the Hollywood Reporter for free. Like, so there's different things you can do. There's people's sites. Like I follow, social accounts. I follow a lot of producers. I follow a lot of directors.
I like following Tracy Oliver.
And you learn so much, or you just get to see, their progression. Right. And I say, like, that's like, I don't know Tracy Oliver, but she's a mentor via social media that way. That's real. There's a lot of people I'll never meet, but like, or that I don't know now. Maybe I'll get to meet one day, but just to see like their progression or what they're putting out, or, like when they're talking about something. And so I think that's a big thing. One of my favorite things to listen to are the Hollywood Reporter roundtables.
Yeah, those are cool. Yeah, or like the actor on actor. Yeah,
you just learn so much from different things like that. Like, and that's another reason why I put this podcast out, because I figured there's somebody out there searching for something. So hopefully this will like be something that they can download before, as they move through this industry.
Yeah, it's like full circle. Yeah, it's really cool. Are we gonna try to do the 5 takeaways?
Bruh. So Niya's the one who does the takeaways.
Yeah, usually I'm typing them up and like as I'm watching the podcast live. But so okay.
Number one.
You just start.
Yep. Takeaway number 1, just start. Just do
Yeah.
it like Nike.
Yes. Takeaway number 2.
Fear is just perspective.
Perception. What?
Fear
We just
is
blanked out. Okay, maybe we should fix this.
so basically. Fear is this thing that you can turn upside down on its head, and you can use that same imagination and that same energy and be like, but what if I do succeed?
Yes, beautifully said. Takeaway number 3. You can do things before you move out here to prepare. You can read, you can follow people on socials, get that money up because LA's no joke. Yeah, and you can even start talking to people in different writers groups or whatever groups on different social media accounts that you're interested in. Yeah, because a lot of people want to help.
Yeah. Number 4, invest in yourself. Yeah. Take classes, read books, research, strengthen that muscle for that thing that you want to do.
Beautiful. And I have a really great takeaway number 5.
I can't wait to hear number 5.
And I'm not just stretching out time so that I can think
about takeaway number 5.
About takeaway number 5. Enough. Just in conclusion.
Take it away, Niya.
I don't know what to say.
I'm leaving all this in here, by the way.
No,
this is
I
great.
figured as much. Takeaway number 5. There are fellowships in writing class.
Oh my gosh.
My brain it exploded in my head.
Oh my gosh.
Takeaway number 5. There's fellowships, there's writing classes, different things and opportunities that you can take advantage of to help you in your craft.
Good job.
Thank you. Who does the outro?
Go ahead. That's all you.
Okay.
You took over.
Yeah.
You did good.
Thank you. I'll be here next week
No,
with another person that I'm interviewing. But yeah, this has been another episode of Copy That. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure to like, subscribe, anywhere that you can listen to a podcast, we are there. And also you can see it on YouTube on the Lacktoast channel, right?
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, this has been an episode of Copy That. Bye guys.